here we go.
There we go.
We're off
Lights
skate.
out.
Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig. Chop top, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like the invitation. Just get close into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This pump, the feeling that you stay for. In time, I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 million answers. The world I love, the tears I've dropped to be part of the wave can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you?
Alright, welcome everyone to Paul Ricard then for the first round of Supercharged Sunday. Obviously, previously finishing the other Sunday series and now moving on to the next. Obviously, first round then is at Paul Ricard. Clouds are out and the temperature is still quite high, around 30 degrees at the moment. Currently watching then John Gray just start his lap at the moment. Obviously, had a fair amount of fast drivers in practice earlier, so I'm expecting quite a close battle between everyone on the grid tonight. It should be quite interesting indeed. So, obviously, I haven't been to Paul Ricard in quite a long time, or not what I can remember anyway. And so it'll be interesting to see how these drivers get on in terms of lap time. Also, I know drivers like Usby, obviously a home track for Usby, will have some good pace around here. So with John Gray then on the back straight. It looked like a relatively clean lap so far. I'd imagine he'll be looking for a good result tonight as well to start off the Supercharged Sunday series. You can see a lot of track extension allowed by the game at Paul Ricard, so he'll be making all the use of that. And you can see he tries to get the most clean sector 3. Quite a tricky sector 3 to get right, because if you mess it up just a little bit, it can really affect your lap, especially this corner as well. Brake too early, you lose half your lap time. Brake too late and you're off into the barrier. So you have to be quite precise around sector 3 especially. It's not all straight, unfortunately, and there's a fair few amount of corners, but it looks like a very clean sector 3 for John Gray then, as he will now be the first to cross the line to set the pace for the rest of the guys behind. I'll have to see what it is as he crosses the line. It's going to be a 1:54.8. And I imagine now we'll see some of the other drivers start to file in their lap times. So Usby then 54.1 already, so 7/10 the gap then for Usby. So we'll have to see if anyone can beat Usby at the moment. Samuel then next across the line. It was a 56.9 as he looks to improve. Currently 2.7 seconds down from Usby at the moment. Obviously, some drivers still settling in at the moment. A lot of drivers in sector 3, so you see Samuel going off the track there. But Usby then still the one to beat, but at the moment he's not that up much on the delta. But John Gray is. He's currently 4.5 tenths up on the delta, as that's Nyneken, who goes second, 54.1 then in the Ferrari. Very close to Usby at the moment. Like I said, John Gray is improving quite a bit at the moment. We're looking to take a very close P2. But I think that's Michael Firth then in the 186 Ferrari, 54.6, so a little way off the top, but still these guys are very, very close. So we'll have to see how they get on as well. Obviously other drivers then filing in. The Bentley then, Rasmus, currently P6, 55.1 for that Bentley. Great to see some of these older cars as well back on the grid. So it's not all plain sailing for the modern ones. They have got competition, but Usby's found a lot of time. Usby's found a lot of time in this final sector, as he's currently almost 5/10 up on the delta, and will put him into a 53 already, which is a very competitive time. Like I said, pretty much home ground advantage in for Usby, so we'll be looking to make the most of that. And he loses a little bit of time in the final corner, around 3.5 tenths improvement. Still, it'll be a 53.8 then as across the line with the purple sector 1 and 3. Currently then 4 tenths clear of 9. As actually I think he is up as well, not by much though. So a little bit of room for improvement for these guys as they come forward, but 8 minutes 50 then left in quali, so still a fair amount of time for everyone to get their laps in. But I have noticed quite a lot of people are quite bunched up. You can see here, Pryor is sandwiched between a McLaren and a Lamborghini, as Pryor is currently down the Delta, but still, most people are still either in twos or massive groups, as you can see on the right hand side on the minimap. But yeah, other than that, then I do believe if we go further down, yeah, that's Patrick in the BMW then, 5 tenths up on the Delta. This will put him within 1 second of provisional pole, and it's actually the provisional pole is actually held by Hanak at the moment. It's a 53.4, so Hanak's setting the pace then to use it. 3 tenths is the gap. Once again, I didn't see Lucas's time, so still, again, very quick that McLaren, and it's going to be a great battle, I'm sure, for the lead of this race. Obviously, then, for the format for these races, it is a 1 hour mandatory stop for tyres, and then obviously the next round is a 45 minute with no mandatory stop, and then it repeats itself until the end of this. So obviously Hanak trying to get by then. He's currently 2.5 tenths up, but he's going to have to go round the outside of the Ferrari in qualifying. He has to back off from that, and he will lose that 2.5 tenth advantage he just had. Obviously not much he could do there. Obviously that Ferrari is on a lap at the moment. So unfortunate for Hanak, but he will have to go again. Luckily no one's massively improving to currently take that time away from him, but obviously he knows he's got the time, and he'll try and set it. I mean, that would have been a very low 53 even for Hanak, so that's very, very competitive. So to see then, but Rasmus currently 6 tenths now up on the Delta, and he'll be looking to push his way up into the top 6 from P10. This will be a very nice lap time if he can hold it together. Currently in the final sector, it looked quite clean, and he's still around 6 tenths up on the Delta at the moment. This could be a very nice lap time if he gets a little bit more time, but he unfortunately does invalidate. It validates it just on that corner there. It's quite an easy one to invalidate, unfortunately, but at the end of that lap he was 7 tenths up, so lots of time then for Rasmus to find, and that would have put him at the moment, or could have put him in P6, just behind John Gray in P5, so some time then to find for Rasmus. We'll see how he gets on. But someone that is finding time at the moment, like I mentioned, is John Gray. He's currently 4 tenths up on the Delta at the moment. This will put him into a 53, so he'll be looking at P3 at the moment if he holds the lap together. Obviously at the moment in sector 3, one of the trickiest sectors on this track, quite running out a little bit wider there, and obviously late braking, but too late maybe for John, as he has to return to the garage. A bit further down, as Pryor is currently improving. It's around 5 tenths at the moment. He'll be looking for a 54, and that will put him around P8, P9 if he holds that lap nicely. It's going to be a great improvement for Pryor then to push himself up into the top 10. And let's see how he gets on. He's currently lost a little bit of time, but he's found loads of time in those sectors when he's found like 1/10 and a half. And just on that corner alone, that comes across the final corner, then it's going to be about 6 tenths of a second, and that will surely put him deep within top 10. But it doesn't, it only puts him P9, but still in the top 10, and he actually gets dropped down to P10 then by another car. So time to find Pryor if he wants to push himself a little bit higher up the grid, but doing alright at the moment. But the person that knocked him out actually was Van Nimmen. In that 80 Ferrari. It's currently it's going to put him P2. I was going to say it was up on the Delta, but wasn't quick enough for that. But puts himself P2 at the moment with a 53.7 and a purple sector 3 to go with it. So very respectable as well. As further down the grid, then Rasmus has found the time, 7 tenths improvement as he comes across the line, but it isn't going to be enough to improve his position, so we'll have to go again. Someone else also 7 tenths up, and now 8 tenths, now 9, is Sergio Rigo as he comes around the final corner. Then 1.2 seconds up, now loses a little bit of time on the exit. Then it's actually going to lose so much time on the exit, it's going to be down to a 3 tenths improvement, so he's lost around a second just in that final corner alone. That's going to be 57.3. then he'll have to look just for a little bit more to improve his position into a 56, because Samuel, the car ahead of him, is into a 56.9. If he just finds a couple more tenths, I'm sure he'll get there, and Maple actually goes 14th then with a 57.0. So I'm sure Sergio can find the time indeed. But at the moment then, obviously 3 minutes 40 left on the clock, and the top guys are not improving at the moment. I have to keep an eye on that. But someone that is improving is Loic then, in the 972 McLaren, currently yet to set a time. But obviously I think he's had an invalidated lap because the delta is going up at the moment. It's sitting around 9/10 of a second, so as he comes then to the line, we'll see what time it is. Puts in P13, very nice lap time from Loic then. It's a 55.7, and he will need to find around 3 or 4 tenths of a second to improve his position. He already finds 2 tenths in the first couple of corners, so I'm sure he'll have that time by the end of the lap. But Hanak then, like I said, currently 2 tenths the gap to Usby, and Usby's pushing. You can see by the massive slide he has at that corner. It's half a tenth improvement for Usby at the moment. He has to find, obviously, like I said, around 2.5 tenths just to secure it. That's no guarantee. Hanak's not going to go out again and try and beat it. But Usby has found a little bit of time there. He's actually got 2.5 tenths already. Now dropped down to 1 tenth, now dropped down to half a tenth. So he has the time, he just can't keep the lap together by the looks of it. Maybe struggling a little bit in the Ferrari at the moment. Yeah, he's lost a lot of time through that sector 1 section. He's now half a tenth, sorry, up on the delta, and you have to find a little bit more in the sector 3. He has got around a tenth to find in sector 3 compared to the purple sector 3. So I'm sure he can find some time in there. He's also losing a little bit in sector 1 as well. His best sector at the moment is his sector 3, so he has to find a little bit more. His worst is his sector 2. He's currently 3 tenths off. No, sorry, 5 tenths off the best sector 2, and that's actually held by the Lexus, which obviously sector 2 is majority straight, so no wonder why the Lexus has that as purple. But usually then he's actually lost time. He's currently down by about a tenth, so he needs to find a little bit more time. He's got 1 more lap. He usually has, so we'll have to see if he can do it. Hanak's still in the pit, so he won't be going out to set another lap time. Someone that is in the pit lane as well is Venom, so he won't be going out. Gray's in. Neineken is coming round. He'll be able to set 1 more lap, but he's got to find around 5 tenths. So this lap is all or nothing for Usby then, as he was the 10th up on the delta, but still now half a tenth. Like I said, he has to find that gap in the top left of your screen. It's around 2 tenths. He's got to find it. He's sitting around a tenth at the moment. We'll go on board passenger cam just to see what he's doing. Still around a tenth then. At the moment, he finds the 2 tenths on the exit there. A little bit of less speed coming towards the straight. Might lose a little bit more time down the straight as he goes, but it's 1/10.5 improvement for Usby. Needs a tenth now just to secure pole position. Now it's creeping towards 2 tenths. Maybe his exit was a lot better than it was previously. Like I said, he was 4 tenths down in sector 2 compared to the rest. It was a 31.6 in sector 2 to Hanak, and it was a 31.9 for Usby. So plenty of time for Usby. But again, almost creeping on the 2 tenths mark for Usby at the moment. He needs a little bit more than 2 tenths. This is his final lap. But he makes a mistake, a little bit of a mistake there. He loses so much time. It's going to be not even a half a tenth delta, but he does find a little bit more time creeping back into sector 3, but it's mistake after mistake. It's not really ideal what he wanted, but he's still up on the delta just, but he's lost so much time. As he comes through, he's literally got the last couple of corners to go. He's got to find around 2 tenths in it. It's going to be really hard for Usby at the moment, but he's sitting around half a tenth improvement at the moment. He needs a fantastic final set of corners to get pole position at the moment. He gets the 10th. He's looking around a tenth and a half, but he loses time again on the exit. And again, his turn-ins much better, but his exits are not as good. But it'll be at the end of that a 10th improvement for Usby. It won't be pole position, so pole position will go to Hanak then. It's a 53.4. Great effort from Usby then to try and secure that, obviously making a few mistakes, but still in a great position for the start of the race. But look how close that grid is. I'm sure we'll have a very, very exciting start to this race. Obviously 60 minutes of racing, with a mandatory pit stop for tyres. So these guys have got plenty of time to try settle in and make their overtakes. As we'll come around then. Nijneken currently down on the delta. I don't think he'll be improving unless he gets a nice couple final corner. He actually does go green in the final corner, but he loses a little bit of time on the exit, so it won't be an improvement for Nijneken. And another car to cross the line, actually Daniel, but he's already finished his lap then. So it's Hanak to Usby, to Van Nimmen, to Gray, to Nijneken, and then to Firth is our top 6. So looking majority Ferrari dominated, but still a fair few amount of cars involved in all of that. We'll quickly go for a short break while these guys get their formation lap, or their setups applied, sorry, and we'll be back for the formation lap to view. So I'll be back shortly, and we'll be there very shortly.
Here we go.
There we go.
We're off
Lights
skip.
out.
Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig. Chop off, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like no imitation. Distant us into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This part the feeling that you stay for. In time I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 million answers. The world I love, the tears I drop to be part of the wave. Can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you?
Here we go.
There we go.
We're off
Lights
skip.
out.
Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig. Chop off, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like no imitation. Distant us into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This part the feeling that you stay for. In time I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 million answers. The world I love, the tears I drop to be part of the wave. Can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you?
Here we go.
There we go.
We're off skip.
Lights out.
Half an hour of racing underway.
Can't stop addicted to the shindig. Chop off, it says I'm gonna win big. Choose not to like no imitation. Distant us into the reservation. The pistol that you pay for. This part the feeling that you stay for. In time I want to be your best friend. Eastside love is living on the west end. Knocked out before you better come to. Don't die, you know the truth is some do. Go ask the dust for any answers. Come back strong with 50 million answers. The world I love, the tears I drop to be part of the wave. Can't stop. Ever wonder if it's all for you?
Welcome back then. Just got away for the formation laps. All setups are now applied. and it will be soon green flag racing. Obviously, got a fair amount of drivers on the grid tonight, and plenty of action between them. You saw the qualifying times and how close they were, and really excited to see how it's all going to play out. Obviously, Hanak, then our Pulsar, and usually shortly behind. Interested to see what strategy is to play, because also we know that McLaren is going to get the accelerating start he needs to push forward. Then obviously so good on acceleration is that McLaren. Ferrari not so much, so we'll have to see. Well, it depends really on driver reactions, but in terms of actual car performance, it is the McLaren that will win that battle any day of the week. But you know, it's mainly for these two who is running more or less wing, because come this straight after they finish sector 1, if USB is in a decent amount of slipstream, he'll most likely get the run on the McLaren. The McLaren is faster in a straight line, I think, by a couple kilometers. It's not much, but if like I said, if USB's in the slipstream, those couple kilometers do not matter at all, and we could see hopefully side-by-side action into sector 3. Hanak taking the F1 layout as opposed to, I don't know what they're doing, to be honest. New new tyre warming techniques possibly, that I've not heard of. But yeah, like I said, hopefully by this corner they're coming up to now, the fast right-hander, I'm hoping they'll be side by side. Used to be doing some quite aggressive tyre warm-up. But yeah, obviously that does rely on Usby staying close to Hanak then in the first sector. We know how strong that McLaren is generally on acceleration, and in that first sector, that McLaren is going to be so quick through the corners. It's going to be quite hard for Usby to stay with it on the exit. But again, it is lap 1, so I'll have to see what happens there. I'm pretty sure Usby's car just blended in and camouflaged with the blue out of the track. I need to rewatch that on stream again a bit later. It literally looked like his car went transparent for a moment. Yeah, obviously coming towards sector 3 then, so very shortly from green flag racing. We know Usby's very quick here, we know Hanak's very quick here. Obviously the rest of the grid not that far behind, so I'm hoping we get some good action for 60 minutes as well. Obviously, like I mentioned before in qualifying, we have got a mandatory pit stop, 4 tyres, so every car on this grid is going to have to stop. Whether they take it early or later, we'll have to find out, but you can see them lining up then in their side-by-side boxes as we look to get away. Like I mentioned previously, the top quite Ferrari dominated, but again, with a few cars behind, you can see there's a Bentley, there's an Aston, and there's a Lexus not that far behind as well. So come that straight, we could see some of the guys towards the midfield start to make their way to the top. But we'll get started then for green flag racing. I can't remember where the green flag is for Paul Ricard, but we'll have to roll with it as they come past the pit lane then, and the line should be in sight very shortly. There is the line, you can see it on your screen, and it is green flag racing, except for drive-through penalty for Cosciero then. I think that'll be on position on start, it is, but it's a great start for Hanak then. Usually has to tuck in, but you can see going 3 wide into the corner is John Gray, and the cars behind. There's a massive crash even just behind. I think that was due to the 3 wide incident. There's a massive crash even further back. Multiple cars involved in that one. We'll have to see what happened there, but obviously lots of positions being changed then. John Gray manages to make his way up into P3, and some other cars also, but you have seen a couple cars actually drop behind. I think Nyneken being one of them, and Van Nim being the other, and so yeah, positions changing all over the shop. But usually then 3/10 then to Hanak. They've got a 2.2 second lead already due to that incident. But I don't know if USP is going to be close enough. I'll have to go on board the passenger cam just to find out. But still, nonetheless, these two will be relatively close indeed. I'm sure USP will try and look for a move as quickly as possible. He's going to stick behind Hanak. He's going to make a very late move to the right hand side, but it is happening, like I said on the formation lap. Side by side they go into the fast right-hander. USP does get ahead, and Hanak now has to follow. Hanak, like I said, much quicker through the corners than that McLaren, so I'm sure he will look for a pass very shortly then. But Usby making a lovely pass into sector 3 in that fast right hand. Not a very commonplace to see him move, but on lap 1 especially, that was great to see. But in behind then is Rasmus in that Bentley up to P5 now. I say that as he makes a mistake and actually loses to Pryor and Kelly, but Kelly can't get the overlap. But the Bentley's going to come straight back at the Aston already. But I'm going to say it's a great start for Rasmus as he was making places left and right, but Pryor makes a mistake and actually loses position to Kelly potentially. That's a great recovery then from Rasmus to get himself back up into P6 after that mistake. He looks like all squabbling at the back there. But an accident 2/10 of Usby already, so you know, 1 lap already and these two already fighting. It's definitely great to see. He said John Gray then 2.2 seconds behind. That was due to the incident at the start, but already I think he might start to catch up. These guys keep fighting. I'll have to see what the plan is. Hanak, obviously, like I said, in that McLaren, much faster in these corners than Usby, so I'll have to see how it all plays out. Car 80 has got a stop-go for cutting. That's unfortunate to see, but he'll have to see what goes on for him. But Hanak then might try and make the same move Usby did literally last lap. We're on the interior cam with Hanak then. You can see him pulling closer and closer to Usby. You can see Usby's rain light flashing. It's not raining, but he's got it on anyway. But we'll see what is the plan for Hanak. He does look to the right. I don't know if he's going to go for it. He does going to go for it. He's going to pull up to the right hand side. Then they're going to be side by side. Come the corner already, and Hanak side by side still with Usby. Usby's going to still try to hold it around the outside, and these two still close. But Usby, I think, yeah, Usby's going to lose out on that one. But Usby's going to try go all the way around the outside. Don't think that's going to work, as yeah, Hanak has that inside line, much more beneficial in that corner, especially. So Hanak then back into P1. So these guys just swapping positions at the same corner by the looks of it, but still a great recovery. Well, recovery not really, but great pass for Hanak then to get himself back into P1 as they just come to finish lap 2. Look further on down the grid then. 186 is getting quite close to John Gray, and I'm sure there might be a pass there. I'll see John Gray going up a few positions due to the start, and you'll be looking for a pass, I'm sure, on John Gray quite shortly. As the gap actually from John Gray to Usby has gone down by about a second almost now, so these fighting, I'm not going to help it, but actually Usby's already out of the second gap already, so maybe a mistake from Usby, but you can see how close John Gray is behind, so he's going to start looking in his mirrors very shortly. Further down the grid then, Nineken's trying to make a pass on the Lamborghini. Obviously involved in that incident at the start, set him back a few positions indeed. Had a great start. The Lamborghini goes a little bit deep, that's the cut, but Nineken then trying to make his way back. Yeah, the Lamborghini does cede the position, and Nineken then up back into the P12 as he will look to try to overtake Maple. Is his next target, but I think Maple's actually going to try to get a pass on the Mustang ahead. Maybe not, because I think that Mustang is much quicker in a straight line than the Porsche will be. But someone else trying to make a pass maybe very shortly is Michael Firth, obviously very close to the back of John Gray. The gap is around 0.3 of a second, so I'll have to keep an eye on this gap and see if things. But I think John Gray goes wide, goes on a wider line, but Michael tries to go for it and does make contact with the rear of John Gray, spinning them both. It's going to lose them so many positions. John Gray loses the position to the Bentley. The Bentley's put himself up into P3. Rasmus doing a fantastic job to be in that position. And yeah, John Gray then, and Michael Firth down in the back then. Another spin for Michael as he then loses more position, loses 4 positions, and that's not really what he wanted ideally, but that incident has put Kelly on the back of John Gray then. And obviously John Gray's in P4, so it'd be a great try for Kelly if he can try push onwards, but he has got Pryor and Loic and Daniel behind them. Daniel's in the Lexus, and Lexus on Paul Ricard is pretty worrying, especially come that straight, so we'll have to see how there is. But like I said, Rasmussen obviously making most of everyone else's mistakes at the moment and doing a fantastic job to be in P3 at the moment in the Bentley. The gap is 6 seconds to the guys ahead and 2.6 behind. So keep pushing forward then for the Bentley. That is, I'm sure, what he's going to try and do. Also, all these guys have got to try and make a stop at some point, but I think that's Ninekin got through on Maples. Now he's already up into P11. He'll be looking for a great recovery. He's definitely on the pace in quali and in practice, so we'll have to see where he gets to by the end of this race. Maybe he can gain a few positions by doing an undercut or an overcut. We'll have to see what he goes for. We'll see. We'll have to see. Pryor still on the back of Kelly. Obviously that Aston Martin going to be much quicker in a straight line than that Ferrari, but you can see John Gray's pulled away just a little bit more than Kelly has on Pryor. But if you actually look, it looks quite dark outside at the moment, but I think it's just those clouds currently. So the clouds covering the sun. So the track is 32 degrees, but I think that's actually a mistake for Pryor, or a great exit from the McLaren. So McLaren was looking for the move on Pryor already. We'll have to see how that works out, but Lamborghini does make a mistake and actually lose position to the car ahead. That's a 628 car that got past just a minute ago. But these three very, very close then, and I'm sure these guys will be looking to try and get past Kelly at some point. Because Kelly losing time to Gray, that's not really what this little train wants. They want to kind of stick to the back of John Gray, just try to let Gray push them, or pull them along, sorry. I'll see how that all works out, of course, but at the moment then, our leader, Hanak, then 1.5 seconds the gap to Usby. Usby in P2 at the moment. Then, like I said, then it's Rasmus in that Bentley doing a fantastic job, and then it's John Gray, and then it's Kelly, and then it's Pryor, and then it's Loic, and it's Daniel in that Lexus. He'll be looking to try break, or try and get into that 1 second again, and try use all that Lexus top speed to try and close that gap. But Ninekin's making with another position. It's a position a lap for Ninekin at the moment. It's a great job. He's currently back into P10. He was last, and now P10. So doing a great recovery is Ninekin, and we'll have to see how he gets on. The gap ahead is 4 seconds, so he has a little bit more to catch this time. We'll have to see how that works out for him. But Michael, obviously getting previously in an incident with John Gray, has to close the gap to the Lexus, but he can't really do that because the Lexus is so fast in a straight line. It's going to be quite a struggle, I'm sure, but I'm sure come Sector 1 and Sector 3 he will start to use some of that Ferrari cornering against the Lexus to try and get his way past. But Pryor's actually dropped off in the back of Kelly by a little bit. The gap's been about a second and a bit, so Pryor may be making another mistake as he goes and makes a mistake even right in front of us, and it does allow the McLaren through, but Pryor's going to hold it all the way around the outside still. If he manages to hold on to this position, he does. Yeah, he does hold on to this position for now. That's the 574 Lamborghini getting a try through for track limits, then not really what you want this early on. It's only been 10 minutes, so I have to see how that works out for them. That's Samuel making a position on the 628 Ferrari up into P13 at the moment, so doing a great job. But yeah, this is the train then. That Lexus looking very, very fast. That Ferrari's all over the back of the Lexus, but still that Ferrari isn't going to get the run he needs, because it's the Lexus versus the Ferrari. That Lexus will be doing so much more speed than that Ferrari will be. But yeah, Pryor seems to be struggling a little bit, because the gap to Kelly is now 2.2 seconds. They're literally just bumper to bumper. So we'll have to see. Pryor's losing a little bit of pace then already, but at the moment he's got to look in his mirrors, because that McLaren is looking to try for a pass very, very quickly. There's the 186 of Michael gets a 5-second time penalty. I presume that will be further contact with John Gray a little bit earlier on. As I speak about Michael, he'll be trying to get past these guys just in front of us. But I think Ninekin is actually Ninekin just made a mistake. He's actually lost out his P10 position down to P11 at the moment. So he was having such a great drive, then he made another mistake, unfortunately. But doing a great job nonetheless. So he's still got 50 minutes really and a pit stop to try and make positions back. I'm sure he can do it. But let's see how this battle pans out. As we know, this McLaren is fast, and he wants to try and get past Pryor as quickly as possible. Interested to see what the plan is, of course, because Does he try to get past in a straight, or does he use the McLaren for the corners? Obviously the Aston much quicker in a straight line than the McLaren is, so we'll have to see. Depends what wing they're running really, and if Prime makes a mistake just before the straight, because that will really affect obviously your straight line speed in the end of it. I think there's a battle, yeah, there is a battle. Maple and Samuel going side by side in the Porsche versus the McLaren then, and I think Maple's just lost that position, or Samuel just got it back. And again, another close battle to keep an eye on, I'm sure. But yeah, plenty of battles up and down the grid then, as Nijneken is in for a stop already, I think. Yeah, he's turned into the pit lane, so he's maybe doing a very, very early undercut then, and this could pull off nicely. Obviously, if he pits now, he's clear, he's not in the way of the traffic. If he's not in the way of the traffic, he can get the clean air and set the lap times. He knows he can do the lap times, so if he, like I said, if he gets that clean air, it's going to be much more beneficial for him. I think actually he's just, no, yeah, he's coming in. But yeah, so Nijneken then doing an early stop, and he's got to be careful because he might actually put him as a blue flag to the leaders, and that's not really what he wants, because if he wants to try on lap himself, that's be more difficult than he's really going to ask for. It does put him down to last place then. Does this pit stop? I have to keep an eye on where the leaders are. The leaders are coming into sector 3, but that Lexus has actually just got past McLaren then. Obviously the Lexus much quicker in a straight line, maybe a mistake from the McLaren to open up the position, and the Lexus then ahead, but the McLaren will be looking to fight back. He does look for the move already, maybe a bit too early to try and make that move, but he is going to get stuck behind the Lexus in these corners. He's going to try and get past as quickly as possible, and obviously holding up the Ferrari as well behind, and all the while it's going to allow Pryor to get away and try and close that gap to Kelly, which he's already done. The gap to Kelly's already back under a second, but 15-second time penalty then has been applied to Bentley in P3 at the moment. Unfortunate for him, but it is what it is. But you see how slow that Lexus is through these final corners. McLaren is literally having to brake everywhere to try and get past it. The Ferrari tries to get past McLaren, just can't get the exit speed that the McLaren can. Some plenty of position changes then. But I think Nijneken is out. Nijneken is out ahead of the leaders. That's good for him, as he can now just get some clean air and set the pace. We'll have to see if that undercut is going to work for him. Obviously quite an early one, but it might pay off if he's got the pace for it. So yeah, these lot then very, very close. Pryor's already dropped off a little bit, but you can see how close these guys actually are. Obviously a few gaps indeed, but most of these guys are quite close together. You can see Gray's not that far behind either, or far ahead, sorry, either. So plenty of position to be played for already. I think that's these two still going side by side as Samuel makes another position. I think actually that's because of Nijneken stopping, but either way, Samuel overtakes Maple for P12. So obviously these two not battling, not really want, because they got Sergio and Maxime just behind. Maxime actually got 20 seconds, but nonetheless still catch a decent amount. It's not really what you want if you're losing time by fighting, especially if it's cars behind that could potentially be faster than you. So you can see that McLaren lurking in the background, but Samuel seems to need to defend at the moment, and he does need to defend because that Porsche is all over the back of him. The Porsche going round the outside into the fast right-hander. I think that, yeah, Samuel is going to hold on to that, as he does have the inside, but still great racing from these two to hold on to that nice and cleanly. But you can see that Ferrari is all over the back of the McLaren, and I'd imagine that Ferrari will be looking for a pass very, very shortly. You can see how close he's getting to the back of that McLaren. So that Lexus is going to be quite hard to pass, but maybe we'll come back to that a bit later. I think Michael's coming in, so very late for Michael, but he does come in very late. So Michael may be taking the same advice as Nijneken did, and he'll try the same strategy. And he has got 5 seconds to serve as well, so he has to serve that. Well, he doesn't have to, but he will serve that, I would have guessed, in the pit lane. So add 5 seconds to his stop, which is not really what he wanted, but nonetheless, as he drops down then, you see the grid passing him. He's currently in P14, and presuming he'll lose position to Maxime behind. But other than that, I think he'll just be fine. But again, clean air is key, especially around a track like this. It's quite valuable. So we'll have to see if the strategy works for Ninekin and Michael then. I imagine they'll try their hardest to try and make it work. Michael's still in the stop, then he's actually going to lose another position to the Lamborghini behind him. You can see the Lamborghini going by there, and yeah, he's going to stay stopped. I imagine Michael will be trying to get going again very shortly. As Ninekin, yeah, you can see he's been released now on the jack, because Ninekin is at the or towards the final corner, and you can see Michael is now out of the pit lane. You can see Ninekin's car in the background there. So these two doing clean air strategy at the moment. Keep an eye on the lap times, see what they're doing. Ninekin's last lap time was a 55.0, and where he originally was, he was he's around a second quicker by doing that stop at the moment, but he's still around half a second off the leader's pace at the moment. So maybe some pace to find, but we'll have to see. So these guys have to take tyres to complete the mandatory stop, so these guys will be on colder tyres at the moment. Let them warm up a little bit, but we'll have to see how they get on then. But these Maple and Samuel still fighting. I think maybe Samuel made a mistake because he's dropped a position to Maple, and 2.2 seconds as well. And he's actually got Sergio just behind him, so I'll have to keep an eye on that gap then. But 20 minutes has been raced, and still got 40 minutes to go then. A lot of this grid, I would imagine, trying to pit around the halfway mark. That's usually roughly a good guidance, with maybe 5 minutes each side depending on fuel loads, if they even stop them for fuel, of course. Maybe some drivers doing different strategies than others. Obviously you can carry the fuel to do the whole distance, but also you can obviously do the double if you want. But so you can see how close the McLaren's getting to the back of the Lexus, but makes a mistake actually. It's not even going to get the run on the Lexus anyway, because that Lexus is so quick in a straight line. I'm sure we can watch it from the McLaren's POV. You can see the Lexus just pulling away, and pulling and pulling and pulling. It's I imagine quite frustrating for Loic at the moment, but he has to try get him in the corners. That's ideally where you have to get past. The McLaren is so quick in the corners, and I think he has to make the most of that. All the while then, Pryor just about 1 second behind Kelly at the moment, so these guys are still relatively close at the moment. I have to see if Pryor will try and make a move or try to get closer to Kelly. These guys are quite close on pace then. It's a 55.0 for both of them, so at the moment then Ninekin doing the same pace as these two. So Ninekin's probably looking, if he can keep doing that pace, looking for P5 at the moment. I'll have to see, keep an eye on the lap times of course, but that is what it's looking like at the moment. And speaking of lap times, Ninekin just set a 55 dead, so and these two last time round did, Kelly did a 56.1 and Pryor did a 55.9, so Ninekin's doing alright at the moment then. I'll have to keep an eye on that, but obviously Michael hasn't come round to set a lap time yet. He'll his first actual lap time since his pit stop. I'll have to see about that. He's got around almost a minute until he comes round, but we'll have to keep an eye on it. Pryor then trying to catch Kelly at the moment. Obviously these two know each other very well. They've raced each other pretty much the entire time. These guys know each other, or know how each other race quite well. So I imagine if they do get close, we could see quite a close battle indeed. But you can see that McLaren closes and closes and closes, and then loses it all on the straight. It's kind of annoying, I imagine, for the McLaren driver. And Alexis catching the Aston as well. It's sort of an unfair effect, of course. But you may be wondering, where does the Lexus come from? Obviously, if you're new, it's all about career mode. Obviously, career mode is ACM unique idea to obviously revitalise a multiplayer experience on ACC and potentially in the future in other games as well. Obviously, you can, as drivers, you can race in multiple races per week, and obviously we have this as the Sunday series. We have a few other series as well, like the mini endurance as well, which is great fun as well. But yeah, you can obviously purchase your own cars. Obviously, cars like the McLaren, the Ferrari are going to be much more expensive. That Aston Martin is actually one of the most expensive at the moment. But of course, cars like this Lexus are relatively cheap. So you sort of understand why some of these drivers choose it, and that is why the Lexus is on the track then. But again, you can obviously do all your finances, take part in weekly and obviously your daily challenges that your sponsors give out to you. Obviously, all sponsors being fake, of course, but all created by us and the community. But obviously, there's a whole team aspect to career mode as well. Otherwise, it wouldn't really be a career mode, of course. But obviously, you can sign drivers to your team. Obviously, complete your team sponsor goals as well. And of course, rent out cars is now a new feature as well. So obviously, you can rent as well. So that's a great feature coming, Harry.
Yeah, the currently cars can be rented from the system for a discount, so it's around about 5% from the current value per race, and then very shortly, so players will be allowed to, or drivers will be allowed to rent out their own cars to other drivers as well, and they can dictate what price that is per race.
Yeah, of course. I'm going to be renting out the Ricard at 1 million ACM coins per race, of course. I'm sure some will buy into that scheme. But yeah, all good fun, of course, and make sure you scan that QR code in the bottom left. That'll take you to the ACM website where you can join the Discord and find out more information there, of course. But speaking, obviously, you play as well. If you haven't got the game or you're looking to get other sim racing titles, of course, Uplay is definitely the place to go. Give you some fantastic discounts on all the games, and of course, if sim racing not what you want to do at the moment, they obviously other titles as well. They'll have some great discounts, and but yeah, I mean, I usually play quite a bit for the DLCs for ACC. It's great to pick up, especially when they're on such low discount. Why wouldn't you pick up a DLC when you can do more races? Of course, obviously the North Life being the newest DLC. I can't remember the price they have it up on Uplay at the moment, but you could definitely find out and check. Obviously, it's just search Uplay on Google or your browser. And,
It's links in the chat as well, or you can just do it yourself with the exclamation mark Uplay.
yeah, obviously Uplay is in the chat then. You can go there as well, and obviously great discounts Uplay do offer, and keep an eye on them because they do come around quite often. But back to this battle then, because Pryor's got past Kelly while I was talking. I didn't really see it happen. I was more or less focused on something else, but Kelly looking for the re-overtake on Pryor then already. But they've got to be careful with that Lexus within 6 tenths already, so that Lexus looking for the overtake on both these guys if they're not careful. And I have to keep an eye on the Lexus's thing. It's currently 6 tenths back, it's already 4 tenths. And they're only come halfway down the straight yet, now it's 3 tenths. So this Lexus top speed is really massive, but Kelly's on the back of Pryor and the Lexus is on the back of Kelly. They could have gone 3 wide into that corner, but Kelly's going side by side with Pryor, and that's Kelly back through then. But Pryor's looking for the re-overtake already, but Kelly blocks off nicely. But yeah, that could have been dangerous. So they went 3 wide into the fast right hander, but these guys so close now. It could be a possibility next time round. So that Lexus has to try keep up in the corners, of course, but Pryor making a little bit of a mistake. Maybe getting a better exit actually, potentially on Kelly. But Kelly holding on nicely just for now. Yeah, but that was definitely exciting from watching the Lexus POV. But the Aston making a very late dive. Unfortunately does not get the overlap, but it does spin Kelly around. But Pryor, I think, keep going, but that does allow the McLaren and the Lexus to get through then. So yeah, Kelly losing, well, he's lost 3 positions out of that. Kelly now boxing from the result of that, either to fix damage and maybe just surface stop now. And we are looking towards the halfway mark for some of these drivers, so it is almost about time, you would imagine, for some of these drivers to come in then. That McLaren and Lexus have got through both on Pryor and Kelly. But now again it's Poloic trying to get past that Lexus, which he's going to try and do. I mean, it quite hard, quite a bit. I mean, he's struggled already, but he has to try and make it throughout the corners. But I think his best chance really is in sector 3, where it's probably more ideal for him to do that indeed. But Looking at the top then, it's still Hanak. He's built the gap to around 4.5 seconds to Usby, who's currently trailing Rasmus by 13.3 seconds. And John Gray's knocked the gap down just a little bit. It's now sitting around 1.5 seconds. It was around 2.5, so John Gray doing just fine to try and work his way back up into P3. But yeah, Cosciero then getting a place from Maple and Kelly pitting. As Kelly's going to come out now in P13 behind Michael. Obviously Michael doing the clean stop a little bit earlier this race. He's currently up at the P12, so this is roughly where he was. Obviously he's gained the place on Kelly, so I have to keep an eye on that. Also we've got to keep an eye on Nike as well. He's currently P15, just making his way back through some of the back of the field. Let's keep an eye on his way forward then. But the number 7 has got a drive through for track limits. That's not really what you want, and that's Samuel. He's also just come in for his pit stop, and he's already got a drive through then on the exit. It's not really what you would want, unfortunately, but it is how it is. As you can see, Pryor has got a 5-second time penalty for that collision with Kelly. As Pryor does come into the pit lane, then he will most likely serve that in the pit lane, I would imagine, unless he obviously turns it off. But lots of drivers then getting a few distance through the pit stops. Like I said, this is around the time where people start to pit. I've got to keep an eye on the gap, of course. But I mean, this is the gap at the top. Of course, Hanak then will be the one to watch. When does he pit? And does he try and get ahead of Usby? Because Usby's closed the gap by a couple of tenths last time round. So I have to see if Hanak can try hold on or gain time during the pit stops, or if Usby can gain time through the pit stops. We'll have to find out what that is. Usby not taking the track limits, that's most probably going to be a warning, and if he's not careful, it'll be a penalty very shortly if he's not careful on that. But yeah, that's actually cost him more time than it's gained him, and if he has got a warning for it, it wasn't really worth it at all. So Usby is still making a few mistakes, and it's not really what he wanted at all. But we'll have to see how he gets on. Like John Gray then, currently 1.3 seconds, so the gap is coming down very, very shortly. I'll have to see what he does. But Hanak then has gone past the pit lane. Usby has gone past the pit lane. So these guys staying out for a little bit longer then, as we just start to cross towards the halfway mark. But Kelly then obviously getting ahead of Pryor, because Pryor had to serve 5 seconds in the pit stop. As you can see, is no longer indicated on the left hand side, and that will mean that'll set him back a little bit. But with that pace of that Aston Martin, I'm sure he'll try and get past. He's currently got to get past the 574 Lamborghini, and he's trying to get past potentially on the straight. You see Pryor trying to look for a way past. We'll go on the interior cam. You can see he's in the slipstream then of the Lamborghini, just trying to pull him across. Just roughly see what he can do. He does pull up to the right hand side then, halfway down the straight. It's a great overspeed for the Aston as they come towards the fast right hander. Then side by side they go, but I think the Lamborghini's actually going to start to pull away potentially, and he's not. We've got Helicam still side by side then. Lamborghini does back out of that. So Pryor then up into P12 after that pit stop. He's currently got 7 seconds the gap to Kelly. So he's got a little bit of work to do in this final 30 minutes. We'll have to see how he gets on. But John Gray is within a second now of that Bentley. So obviously that Bentley does have a 15-second time penalty to serve. But I'm sure John Gray will want to try to get it on track, just in case any of the pills, of course. But like you heard from the announcer there, we are halfway into this race now, so we'll have to see what the plan is. Nyneken still P14 at the moment, currently trailing that Lamborghini that Pryor just went through, so I'm sure he'll try and get through as quickly as possible. Obviously Nyneken, this clean stop hasn't really worked out for him, because Pryor, Kelly, Michael and Abassi just ahead of him have already served their pit stops. The only person to not serve a pit stop ahead of him at the moment obviously is that Lamborghini, and it's not really what he wants. He needs to get past and try and set the lap times. Obviously people not to pit then at the moment. Well, Hanak's actually just gone into the pit, so that answers one question. But Usby obviously now our race leader has not pitted. John Gray is not pitted. that Bentley went into pit lane as well. Daniel is now pitting. McLaren is not pitting. I think that's a great choice from the McLaren. If he can just stay out just a little bit longer, he can try and get the overcut on the Lexus and try and get through. That is a great idea, I imagine, from Loic. But Ninekin then getting from the Lamborghini on the back straight. So Ninekin then having to put the pace down now. Otherwise, he won't really gain many more places this race. But we'll have to watch out where Hanak actually comes out, because that'll be the most interesting thing. But I think actually Hanak's lost time. No, he hasn't, sorry. It's just the Lexus was ahead. I was getting a little bit worried. But yeah, Hanak exiting the pit lane, then he'll have clean air ahead of him. We'll see where Yusui's coming towards the fast right-hander now. We'll have to see how much time Hanak lost in that pit stop then. It was around 1 minute and 7 seconds. That's actually pretty good, because Michael was in the stop for 1:13, and so it's around 7 seconds difference. We'll have to see if Yusui's pitting or he's going to stay out. I wonder what his strategy. Obviously, the gap was roughly around 5 seconds after Yusui's mistake. So we'll have to see what Yusui's strategy is. Does he come in, or does he try to stay out and try to set the pace? We'll have to find out, I'm sure. But if he does come in, we'll have to keep an eye on his time stopped, as well as Yusui doesn't come in then, so staying out for a little bit longer. But he has got blue flags ahead of him, so he's going to try and get past them as quickly as possible to not lose as much time. But Rasmus then serving his 15-second time penalty down in P8 at the moment, so still a very nice position in the top 10. But he's got to watch out from Kelly behind as they try and make their way past the Lexus, and I'm sure this is going to be a fun game for these guys. But the Bentley is quite good in a straight line, so we still could see an overtake potentially, but Kelly's going to lose out the most out of this, because Kelly is in a Ferrari, of course. But yeah, that Bentley is holding on, and it might even look for a pass coming into the straight on the Lexus. So the only thing that can beat a Lexus is Bentley, I'm sure. But the Bentley holding on just for now, not looking to come out of the slipstream at the moment. Trying to hold on maybe for a corner, where the Bentley might be best suited compared to the Lexus, of course. But nonetheless, then I have to keep an eye on this gap between Hanak and Yusbi, because it's around 1 minute 7 time lost. That was Hanak's total time in the pit lane, and the gap currently is 1 minute 5 to Yusbi. So if Yusbi stops, he's going to be 2 seconds behind Hanak. So at the moment, Yusbi's doing all right. You've gained 2 seconds, or 2 or 3 seconds roughly already by staying out another lap. But he is losing time to Hanak now. So actually, Hanak being in that clean air, and obviously Yusbi trying to pass blue flags. Obviously, it could change things, but I'm sure Kelly is not having fun at the moment. He's got 2 really fast cars ahead of him, and he can't really get close other than in the corners. I'm sure that's going to be a fun for him. But yeah, we'll keep an eye on this gap then. As Hanak's still around 1 minute 5. But Yusbi still going out for another lap. I think that's the right decision. If he can make those tyres last and do a late pit stop, even if Hanak passes him on the pit stop, if he can set some good pace bit later on, that might be more beneficial for him. And that, of course, we'll have to find out. But still, Kelly getting very close to the back of Rasmus and Daniel. As Kelly trying to make as much use of that Ferrari as he can, but he can't do anything on this straight. We'll go on board. Passenger cam of Kelly's car, you can see him just pull away. Kelly can't do anything. He can get into the slipstream, but it's not going to do anything. He's not going to get towed along at all. You can just see him, he's literally just waving them by in the distance. It's not really what he wants to do, but you can see the gap there. Maybe that Bentley not as close to that Lexus as he was before. Gap's around half a second between them all. But yeah, we'll have to see what the game plan is for Kelly. I mean, I think Kelly has to try and push throughout Sector 1 and Sector 3 to really close the gap to these guys. You can see how much he closes in these corners. So we'll have to see how that works out. But John Gray is the next one to pit, and so does Loic in the McLaren as well. So Yusui's still gone out then. So we'll have to see if Yusui comes in this lap or he decides to go out for another. Obviously, most time you're 5 minutes in or out of the 30-minute mark on a 60-minute race. with others obviously doing different strategies, of course. But obviously we might try and do an overextend and try a little bit more. But you know, John Gray's out then, out in P3, doing all right. Michael Firth then up into P4, so that stop for him has worked out greatly. Unfortunately for Ninekin, it hasn't really worked out, but he is just behind P10 then. That is Pryor. We'll have to keep an eye on that battle if it improves. But he used to be in the pit lane then. I think the gap at the moment, if I can find it, yeah, I think so. At the moment, I think Hanek will pass Usby, so we'll have to keep an eye on it, of course. Hanek's time stop was 35 seconds. I think that'd be the most for most drivers, of course. Let's see. At the moment, obviously Hanek's total time in the pit was 1 minute and 7 seconds. The gap before as Usby went into the pit lane was 59 seconds. So unless Usby gets an absolute miracle of a stop, I don't think he's overtaking. At the moment, he is stopped now. It is roughly around 30 to 40 seconds stopped, depending on what you're stopping for. So they have to stop for tyres. So we'll have to see. At the moment, Hanak then coming towards the final corners, and usually he's not even 10 seconds away from being stopped. So yeah, Hanak I think will get past, and I think the gap will be around 8 seconds between them. So usually he's got to put down some serious pace. You can see Hanak, we're coming down the right hand side of the screen now. As usually gets dropped from the jack. You can see Hanak come down the straight. There he is in that pink and blue car, and yeah, usually coming out of the pit lane then. Let's see what the gap is when it updates. You can see Koshiro getting quite close, but he does back off luckily for Yusbi. But the gap then 4.5 seconds. So actually, he's actually gained around half a second. I thought it was going to be a little bit more than that, but I think his stop time is actually much quicker than Hanak's it was. Usby was in the pit for 1 minute 5, whereas Hanak 1 minute 7. So again, a couple of seconds then, which luckily allowed him to keep the gap he had. Obviously now on fresher tyres, well, not by much, by a couple laps, but a couple laps once they're warmed up does mean quite a lot. So let's see if he can set the pace. But you know, Hanak's last lap time was a 54.1. And his best was only a 53.9. You see, he's usually trying to warm up the tyres already, so he wants to push come next time round. So I like to imagine you can see Hanak in the distance then. So he's usually trying to close down Hanak as quickly as possible. I imagine that will be his goal for now. Obviously, we know he's at the moment prone to mistakes, and obviously he went wide at that corner not a few laps ago. And I'd imagine he got a warning for it, so he's got to be a little bit careful in how he approaches this. So he can push, but he's going to try not to get warnings, otherwise that will be a driver penalty, and that will not help his race at all. But the gap behind him, 24 seconds, and that's to John Gray. But the main battle at the moment is for P5, as Kelly's actually got through on the Lexus, surprisingly, as the Bentley. So we've got to be careful though, because there's a Mustang just behind. So it's basically the battle of the fast cars plus the Ferrari, which is not Kelly, I'm sure, is probably stressing, because to be sandwiched by what, 3 fast cars, 3 of the fastest cars in the game in terms of top speed, I'm sure he's not enjoying that all too much in that Ferrari at the moment. But Ninekin has closed the Pryor, who is currently in P10. Like I said, if Ninekin can set the pace in the final 20 minutes, the gap to that little train I just mentioned is, you know, it's only roughly about 7 seconds. So Ninekin is lapping quicker than these guys ahead. I mean, he has got to get past Pryor to really set some fast pace. We'll have to keep an eye on that gap, and if it improves, and if he does get past Pryor, but he does have a good shot of fighting for P5 if he can try get past Pryor in the next couple laps. That's ideally what he needs. And then you can see the McLaren just ahead of him, so Ninekin does have his eyes set on the target ahead of Pryor as well. So you can see, I think Pryor's actually catching the McLaren as well. So he's sort of helping the both of them at the moment, but I'm sure Ninekin will want to be the leader of these two at the moment. But still then, the Mustang has joined this battle then, right behind the Lexus. Now this will be an interesting battle, a Mustang versus a Lexus. We'll go on board with the Mustang. I think got a much better run out of that corner than the Lexus did. So keep an eye, of course, but obviously Daniel only 4 tenths behind Kelly, so we could see Kelly get overtaken. as well. You can see the gap, you can see how much it's like the Ferrari's engine's just been turned off, as the Lexus has just pretty much zoomed past him. Side by side they will go. I'm sure, unfortunately, Kelly will have to cede this position, as he can't do much about it. He does. Yeah. Lexus through them at Kelly looking for an overtake. Back into the corner, a little bit of contact made, but Kelly is going to make the move. Unfortunately, does push the Lexus wide. It does allow the Mustang to get through as well. A little bit of contact, very minor contact, but still, Kelly then back up into P60. He doesn't really want to hold on to that behind the Lexus for too long. But unfortunately for Kelly, he's got a Mustang behind him now, so not a lot has changed at all. But he has improved his position back up to P6. All the while, this has allowed the McLaren and Pryor to close the gap just a little bit. By a couple tenths, and a couple tenths does mean quite a bit. But Ninekin still trying to get past them prior to come towards to finish their 20th lap of this race. 18 minutes to go then, and the track temperature has dropped just a little bit. Obviously not too much, so drivers won't be experiencing all too much difference, but maybe enough for some drivers if they've done their pressures incorrectly. Could be struggling, but we'll have to keep an eye, of course, on all of that. But Ninekin then really pushing to try and get past Pryor and try and close that gap as much as possibly can. Also, Ninekin involved in a lap 1 incident, which did set him back all the way back to the back of the grid. And obviously he did do an early pit stop as well to try and do a massive undercut. It hasn't really worked as much as he would hoped, but he is making still a nice recovery to try and get himself up inside the top 10. It did work though for Michael Firth. He's at P4, so he's basically almost back where he was before he had an incident with John Gray a little bit early on, and he's currently got a gap of 10 seconds to John Gray. So yeah, it could be interesting. But the Mustang then on the back of Kelly, gaining so much lap time, but I don't think it's going to be enough for a pass. No, it's not. So Mustang is going to have to try again elsewhere, but Kelly getting such a bad exit is going to allow the Mustang to try and go all the way around the outside into this corner. Kelly defending the inside nicely. Mustang going a little bit of a wider line, trying to look for the exit as much as possible. Kelly holds on to that nicely, I think. So yeah, Kelly's really maybe not focused at the moment. Really needs to try. So lap, you can see him sliding through the corner, so he's not focused at all. Maybe struggling quite a bit against these faster cars with the Mustang looking to the inside. Then Kelly does block it off, getting quite close to the Mustang then. But yeah, could be quite a close battle then if Kelly wants to try and defend this P6. Around 15 minutes roughly left of this race, so I have to keep an eye on it. But in talk of the lead, Hanak has pulled away around, the gap's around 5.5 seconds, but last time round Hanak did a 54.0 and Usby did a 53.8, but it was invalidated. So Usby maybe not having all too much fun, maybe starting to flirt with the track limits a little bit, which is not really what he wants, because he might get a drive through if he's not careful, and that will set him back to John Gray and potentially Michael Firth if he's not careful. So of course we'll have to keep, hopefully he doesn't do that, but, and hopefully we have a battle for the lead come the end of this 15 minutes, but we never know. Kelly getting a 5-second time penalty then. I'd imagine that would have been for the push on the Lexus earlier, but someone that is trying to try push past is the Mustang on the back of Kelly. Not much Kelly can do. Kelly does defend the inside, but with the overspeed the Mustang's got, I'm sure the Mustang's just going to pull all the way past Kelly, and not even going to be side by side, but maybe I'm wrong. If Kelly's still holding it side by side then, I know if Kelly is going to try and hold this, he is going to try and hold it. Kelly still has the inside, and Mustang's going to try to go around all the way around the outside. They're still going to be a little bit side by side. They are side by side. Kelly's going to have the inside again. Mustang's going to have to try it once again to go all around the outside. Has a little bit of a snap and can't get the pass, unfortunately, on Kelly, but the Mustang is trying. But all the while, they've got to be careful about Lexus in the background, because it could change things, because Kelly's struggling, and he's going to struggle even more if he's put under the pressure of the two of the fastest cars in the game, in terms of top speed, of course. So we'll have to see how that works out for Kelly. But Ninekin has got past Pryor then, and Pryor maybe potentially looking for the re-overtake, but as the gap is only 0.3. But still, pass for Ninekin then, as he makes his way inside the top 10 then, after not a very fun lap 1. But the gap then 2.4 seconds to the McLaren, and we'll have to see what pace Ninekin can do in that clean air, as long as Pryor doesn't attack him, of course. There is the McLaren just ahead, so we could see Ninekin push his way up then a little bit further into the top 10 if he's got the pace. Obviously 13 minutes then left on the clock, so I'm sure that's plenty of time to catch 2.5 seconds. Keep an eye on it, but Pryor is actually potentially looking for a move on Ninekin, but I think he actually makes a little bit of a mistake into the corner, as he, the gap has dropped a little bit. Not by much though. But yeah, Kelly then actually pulled away a little bit in sector 1 this time. The gap is not as close as it was. It's around 8/10 of a second, but Kelly, I think, is going to get a lovely strip clean from a blue flag driver. So Kelly actually getting the benefit of a blue flag driver, and I'm sure he will try and get past now. I don't know if that blue flag driver is going to give it up. Oh yeah, Kelly has the overspeed anyway. That's good for Kelly, as Kelly is now bridged the gap. But in the background you can see there's the Lexus who are trying to make a move on the Mustang, but the Mustang does hold on nicely to the inside, as they've got to navigate their way through the Lamborghini now, as Kelly has. But this is good for Kelly, as Kelly's now going to start to bridge a gap a little bit into the corner. That's a very late lunge for the Mustang to try and get past, and he does get past Lamborghini, trying to try to get out of the way as quickly as possible. You can see him go off the track then to try and let the Lexus by, but still plenty of action, and often that's actually allowed Kelly 1.8 seconds, which might just be what he needs for a quick breather before they come knocking again. So they're not going to try and play nice this time, because they want to get past into P6, of course. 12 minutes remaining then. Everyone has served their pit stop. Also, we have got outstanding penalties for Kelly and Rasmus. These are P5 and P6, so at the moment the Mustang and the Lexus will gain on Kelly's penalty. Unfortunately, I do not have the quick maths ability for the others, but the Mustang and the Lexus going side by side. Then the Lexus got a great exit compared to the Mustang. By the looks of it, it's actually allowed the Lexus to get through, so great stuff for the Lexus to push their way up into P7. Moved by Daniel, but the Lexus might try to look for the re-overtake. I've not actually compared the Lexus and the Mustang before, so this will be a first. I'll have to keep an eye on it. The gap is around 0.2 of a second at the moment. I'll have to keep an eye on it down the end of the straight. And it's staying about 0.2 of a second, so I think relatively equal then. Not bad at all. But yeah, so that's going to make the Mustang's life a little bit more difficult if he can't make any gains on the straight. But obviously he will try and gain a little bit on the corners. You can see him pull to the inside, try the same move that he did on Kelly, but I don't know if that's a cut on the curb. I'm not sure. It did look like a cut potentially, so that might actually be an illegal overtake, but we'll have to see what the stewards think of that. But Lexus still trying to fight this one back, but a potential cut on the curb then for the Mustang. I don't know if he got a warning or a no-time gain for that, but he still got the pass on that Lexus because of it. But it was quite quick to happen, so I'm not particularly sure. But yeah, that does mean the Mustang is up into P7 then, as a drive-through penalty for track limits for the number 62. And that is Maple, down in P13 at the moment. Obviously track limits at Paul Ricard, not really ideal, but the Lexus then trying once again for a pass on the Mustang as they come towards turn 1. And the Mustang is going to be ahead and on the inside line, and Lexus does tuck in. But yeah, that Lexus is looking quite competitive at the moment and trying to get past this Mustang as quickly as possible. So we'll have to see what the Lexus can do. So we know he can fight against the thing, but no, Ninekin has got a drive-through penalty for track limits. He was doing so well, and he was catching the gaps of the McLaren, but he has got himself a drive-through penalty, which is not really what he wanted at all. He's closing the gap so well. The gap's now 1.6 seconds, so he's dropped the gap, and unfortunately has got himself a drive-through penalty to go with it. It's not really what he wanted, especially with 9 minutes left of this race. The final 10 minutes where everyone starts to push flat out, and he's got himself a drive-through penalty. As I was saying, at Paul Ricard it is quite harsh, and you can easily get a few cuts for silly things. But yeah, you can see Maple serving their drive-through then. But yeah, not really what Ninekin wanted at all. and I know they are quite harsh at Paul Ricard, especially in this corner, as we see here. But that's the Mustang getting a driver penalty as well. The commentator's curse is real, as another penalty then. So Daniel in P8 then, the Lexus, come the end of this, because obviously that Mustang and Nuncan have got 3 laps to serve it, including the current one they're on. So they'll have to serve it before the race finishes, so it won't be converted to a time penalty. So Daniel will be released into P7, and if he can close the gap, he might actually gain on Kelly's penalty as well. You can see actually the Mustang going in to set the drive penalty already, and I'd imagine Ninekin will do the same, but he doesn't. He does come in, just a little bit of a different line. Yeah, both his drivers serving the drive penalty, and that's not really what these two wanted then in the final 10 minutes. But unfortunately, commentator's curse says so. But it does obviously allow for a lot of position changes then. We'll have to see obviously what the stretch is, but this will put Ninekin quite close to the back of this Mustang. So we'll have to see if he can try and gain a little bit on the Mustang. Of course, these two now P11 and P12. It's outside the top 10 then for these two. It's not really ideal, but still, it's a driver penalty. You do have to serve for the track limits, of course. But at the top then, still Hanak leading, and the gap has come down by around a second, but I don't think it's going to be enough come the end of this race. Last time around for Hanak was a 54.5, whereas for Usby it's a 54.2. Gray then in P3, that's actually a 53.8 for Usby as he crossed the line. It's a personal best, so my apologies. He just updated his lap time, of course. But yeah, great lap time for Usby because he is pushing them, so maybe we'll see some gains being made. But John Gray will the next to cross the line. Currently 30 seconds the gap to Usby. And yeah, we'll cross the line, we'll see what lap time he's doing compared to the leaders. It will be a 54.7 for Gray, who's around 4 plus tenths off the leader pace at the moment. But he is doing a fantastic job to be in P3 at the moment, especially after earlier incident. And then it's Michael Firth into P4 then. The gap 12.5 seconds behind John Gray, and his last lap time was a 55.2. So a little bit further off the pace compared. And then it's the Bentley. Obviously we know it was doing so well in P3, unfortunately had to serve that 15-second time penalty in the pit stop, which set them back, but currently back into P5. So still a great result for the Bentley. And it's Kelly, who's actually not that far behind the Bentley at all. It's around 2 seconds the gap. So to see how that is. That's a 5.74. That's the Lamborghini going to drive a penalty as well. So for all of a sudden, everyone in the final 10 minutes have decided they want to drive through penalty. I've nothing to do with me, I swear. But yeah, not really ideal, especially come towards the end of the race now. But nevertheless, then the gap then 2.3 seconds then for Kelly to catch, but it is possible if he can set some nice pace. Then it's Daniel in the Lexus, who's doing a great job. And the moment it's 5 seconds to Kelly, but has some time to find if he wants to improve that position. But he's doing a great job in P7. And then it's Loic then, debut at ACM. And it's going to be within the top 10, which is fantastic indeed. Then it's Pryor, obviously a little bit struggling a little bit earlier on. In P9 at the moment, currently 3 seconds to Loic in P8. So if he gets the lap time in, like I said, with a few other cars he could catch come the end of the race. And there's quite a big gap behind, and it's then 15 seconds to Ivan in the 6.28 Ferrari, who's then obviously got the likes of the Mustang and Ninekin behind them, obviously both serving drive-throughs last time round. And obviously got Maple, who's currently being lapped by Usley, and you got Sergio in P14 as well, and then you got Cosciera in that old 991 GT3R. Great to see some of the older Porsches get used as well, because they've still got a fair amount of pace in them if you can drive them correctly, of course. then you've got the Lamborghini currently in last place, but still doing a great job, currently serving their drive-through penalty. The gap has come down then. The gap is around 3.9 seconds, so USB's gained another half a second just this lap alone. I'll have to see what the lap times are, but that Lamborghini has got a stop-go 30 for speeding in the pit lane, which is not really ideal whatsoever. But we'll have to see what the lap times are. It is another 54.3 for Hanak last time round. It's a 54.2 for USB, so he is gaining time, but not a lot. It was invalidated lap time for USB, so maybe another mistake or trying to get past the blue flag drivers potentially. John Gray had a very strong lap time last time round. It was a 54.4, so on the pace of leaders. This time round it's going to be 55.1, so losing a little bit of pace, but still doing great lap times to hold off the gap from behind, and just doing a great job running MP3 at the moment. Like I said already, if you haven't already, make sure you scan that QR code in the bottom left. It will take you to the website where you can get yourself signed up and join the Discord, and obviously find out more information about career mode, and obviously some of our partners like Uplay, like I mentioned a little bit earlier on. But yeah, we'll move on then for the final 2 minutes of this race. And it should be around 2 laps of racing, I'd imagine, and I'll have to see time and that crosses the line. But still, it's been a fantastic race for Hanak. Obviously started in pole position, has had a little squabble with USB in the first couple of laps, swapping positions, and has managed to put away and do a fantastic job of doing so. So these guys are doing 1:54s. Yeah, actually I think there'll be one more lap of racing actually next time we come around, so this will be final lap. Hanak will be going on to the final lap of the race, so we'll have to see if there's any last lap action, but there is for Nijneken, as he has caught.
Right, man, leader is on the final lap.
See the announcer announcing the final lap then. Nijneken has caught up to the Mustang, and the gap's around 1 second. So Nijneken activating that last minute pace. It was a 54.9. It was a personal best for Nijneken last time round. He's doing a lot better pace than some of these other guys that are just ahead of him. So he has got the pace still this later into the race, and he has to try and get past the Mustang. Although he knows the Mustang is going to be much faster on this straight. So he's going to try everything in the corners, I'm sure. Obviously they'll finish this lap and go on to their final, because they haven't been lapped by the leaders yet. But the gap 3.5 seconds then to Hanak from USB, so USB is pushing like crazy in this final lap just to see what gap he can make up, and if Hanak makes any mistakes. But USB's got to be careful, because he has had a couple of invalidations, which could mean he might have warnings. Obviously, if you get any more than 3 warnings, you're going to get a drive-through, so he doesn't really want a drive-through added to his race time at all, because that will set him back. Actually, it might not set him back, but it potentially could set him back a position to John Gray if he's not careful. The gap then 3.7 seconds. I think Hanak probably will have this unless he makes a mistake, of course. But yeah, Hanak doing, I think, just fine at the moment. He's done a brilliant race to lead pretty much every lap except one, and that was to USB. So again, another great race for Hanak, of course, in that lovely pink and blue McLaren. USB's led another great race as well to finish P2, of course. But yeah, it will be Hanak then, will be our race winner for the first round of Supercharged Sunday. Actually, action pretty much every day of the week at ACM, so make sure you get yourself joined in. Like I said, it will be Hanak then to cross the line to take a fantastic P1 in the first round. Great race from him, and obviously it'll be USB second in that Ferrari. And then the next car to cross the line will be John Gray for P3 for Big Brain Racing. Has done a fantastic job, obviously, to get himself back up into P3 and then hold on to that P3 and just have, I imagine, quite a quiet race for John Gray after the lap 1 shenanigans. But still, a great race from Gray to finish P3. So great start to the Supercharged Sunday Series for him, of course. and yeah, that'll be a P3 finish. The next car then to cross the line, obviously, will be Michael Firth, who will be our 4th place finisher in that 186 Ferrari. Great race, great recovery from Michael as he finishes P4, and then it'll be the Bentley. So he had a great race as well to finish P5. Great to see a car like that finish. And there'll be Kelly in P6, followed by Daniel in P7 in the Lexus. And then it'll be Loic on debut in the top 10 then, his first race in ACM, doing a fantastic job, finishes P8. Then it's maybe not one of the best races Price has had, but still a fantastic one to finish in the top 10. And then it'll be the 628 Ferrari then coming around the final corner now to finish P10. That's Ivan. Great race from Ivan then to get into P10. Unfortunately, then we got a battle to the line. I didn't see that on the Delta, sorry. But Nyneken and the Mustang were going side by side. But unfortunately for Nyneken, I think the Mustang might have had a little bit more straight line speed and exit speed to allow for that to happen. I mean, what a great race from everyone, and obviously great finish from Nyneken. Then that's such a close thing. It's half a tenth the gap. What a crazy finish. Unfortunately, I didn't see that on the Delta, but yeah, glad we caught the rest of that. But still, great race from Nyneken and the Mustang to try and recover their way up back to the top as we watch Koshier try and do donuts in the Porsche. But of course, like I said, if you want to join, obviously the link to the website is in the Twitch chat, and obviously and the